I guarantee you, dude, if you looked at this even further, he probably did kill Tony in like 2014.
What do you call a black doctor? Nothing. There are no black doctors. Ah! The kill Tony fucking Mongoloids are like, yeah! Yeah! Say the N-word! You son of a bitch, that was incredible. Have you ever gotten pussy from a bitch that had banana bread in her ass? As a matter of fact, Tony, you fucking I have. Oh! Red band's like, that would fucking kill, dude.
East Coast comedian Stavros Halkias seems to have woken up to the rise of the hackpocalypse that's absolutely wreaked havoc in Austin, Texas. Because whenever the topic of Kill Tony, Joe Rogan, or the Austin comedy scene arises, Stavros isn't afraid to voice his honest opinions about it, unlike some other comics who tiptoe pretty carefully around the topic in order to spare Lord Joe Rogan's little feelings from being hurt. Like as you just saw there, Stavros really didn't hold back when joking about the smooth brains of Kill Tony superfans, and how they give standing ovations to pretty much any sentence that contains a right-winged buzzword or talking point, which of course made Yanni Pappas and Chris DiStefano burst out laughing because of how utterly true that bit was. And do keep in mind that this podcast aired around 4 months ago, right before established comedians like Mark Maron, Bill Burr, and Dan Soder made it clear to the public that Joe Rogan and his disciples are seriously doing damage to the modern comedic landscape. A call out that was so legendary that it seems to have even inspired Stavros a little, because now he's just calling out people for their obvious BS. Like just last week, Stavros was on Mark Norman's podcast, We Might Be Drunk, dumping on his buddies for scheduling the Riyadh Comedy Festival gig, since they're pretty much just stomping on their morals in the face of that mouth-watering Saudi Arabian blood money. And he really goes in on Sam Morril here, since if Sam had a shred of dignity, he would have turned it down, since to Stavros' point, Sam Morril is a Jewish comedian at the end of the day.
London, Ontario, and then I'll be Chicago, September 5th, and then September 11th, theater at MSG, and then September 27th, Saudi Arabia with...
Oh, you man, you fucking piece of shit. You're all fucking pieces of shit. A stone Sam.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Jessica Kirson's getting it first, right? What the hell?
He's not leaving, I'll tell you that. It's gonna be hard to do crowd work with that burqa.
Everyone doing all the people cleaning your sheets are just Filipino slaves.
They're doing it too, right?
I am.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
October 8th. I figured the 7th would have been in poor taste, so I'm doing the 8th.
What? Jesus, it takes place on October 7th. You guys are in Riyadh on October 7th.
I realize that.
I'm on the 8th. I'm there on the 8th.
Oh my God.
What is going on the 7th? You're going to be doing remembrance posts from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, from Saudi Arabian airspace.
Sound good. Hold on. Distraction real quick.
All right, that'll do it for us.
So good on Stavros for calling this whole Riyadh Comedy Festival disaster out there, because everyone who's on that lineup are officially the most soulless, money-hungry comedians alive. Like, they're basically telling their audience that they'd do just about anything for the right amount of money, which also makes you wonder if they would have gone to Germany in the 1940s and performed there if the evil Austrian painter offered them enough bread. Like, it's almost that insane. And also, just on a quick side note, Bill Burr really disappointed me here. I mean, after everything he's done this year, from calling out Elon Musk and the idiot podcasters who platform those guys, I truly thought he was better than this. At least Stavros had the integrity to turn the money down, since he was most definitely offered to do it. But anyways, as you can see now, Stavros Halkias isn't afraid to take out the trash whenever and wherever it presents itself. And he's always been this way. But this side of him has been coming out more and more recently, as his peers in the comedy world are increasingly changing for monetary gain. Like just a few days ago, he unfortunately had to put a fellow comedian on blast after she wouldn't stop talking about the sensitive topics that the Austin comedy scene thrives on. You know, the anti-trans, anti-feminist rhetoric that mothership attendees pump through their veins on any given night there.
Thanks for coming, Jordan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, special tomorrow. Take Me With You.
It comes out tomorrow.
Comes out tomorrow on Netflix.
Right now I'm in Austin.
You're in Austin.
I'm about to do Rogan.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
My friend's ex, not ex, just dude she was fucking, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I've fucked a tranny, right?
Okay,
which
well,
is crazy.
Yeah, he said that. You're quoting
He said
him.
that. He's like
Yeah.
the Southern guy, which tranny to me is drag, in my opinion.
No.
Transvestite.
It's a slur for
Yeah, but it's not
trans person.
transgender.
Yes, it is.
If you transition fully, you're not really a tranny anymore.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Stop
Okay,
saying it.
Sorry. So then,
I've
what do you
also
think about identifying as queer if you're just a hot woman who got a sex change in a relationship with a toxic gym rat? Do you get to say you're queer?
I mean, I think being trans, I mean, we're in a society where, I think, unfortunately, society dictates that a little bit. And I think
I'm more queer than that person.
you're not. But I do think if you're trans, you're still queer in society.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I land. You have gotten like Austin trans brain. Like you know what I mean? Like it
It's
really
not.
is at the
No,
top of your
because-
head.
no, 'cause I
You
really-
immediately brought it up as soon as the podcast started.
So clearly Stavros is conscious of the boring, played-out, anti-woke talking points that Jordan Jensen is hitting on here, and I feel like it's just completely bumming him out. Not because she's talking about trans people in a bigoted sort of way, that probably doesn't even bother him. The thing that's getting to him here is that she's so obviously practicing these lines for her upcoming visit to Austin in order to promote her special, and Stavros sees right through it. Since after all the times they did podcasts together, this is the first time she's really emphasizing her criticisms on trans people and feminism, conveniently right before she goes to do JRE.
Yeah, it's harder to be a woman.
It's not hard. You'd wake up.
is.
You'd wake up, and all the women around you would be like, "Ew, why are you just wearing your regular face today?" And you'd be like, "Cause it's my face." And they'd be like, "You have to put some mush on it and lots of stuff on it." And you'd be like, "But it's my face." You have
Yes,
to be.
that's
a different-
hard.
No,
That's
it's
what
not
I'm saying.
hard. It's stupid,
It
and
is.
it's our fault. Women can stop. Women can stop.
It's
Stop
really
doing
not.
it.
Holy f***, this is insane. You think it's women's fault?
Yeah, dude, we
that
get
they're the
paid
one-
just as much. We're just as powerful. Cut it out.
All right, you're practicing for Rogan very clearly. You're gonna do a,
No.
You're gonna do a great job on Kill Tony with these
Dude,
talking points.
Why? I am.
And he knows that she's not really being her true self here. Like in this next clip, for whatever reason, Jordan Jensen goes on a rant about how she hates women, and it's such a forced act that Stavros literally says to her face that she's very obviously practicing for Rogan. Because according to Stavros, she's actually, deep down, embarrassed of being a hardcore feminist in front of Rogan and Hinchcliffe.
It's up, and it's got to stop. And we should our
Okay.
periods and everything. I think every woman when they have their period should have 2 little red blood stripes. None of this hiding it anymore. No
Okay.
more.
I'm with you on all this stuff.
Feminism is dead, dude.
But what you're talking about is a form of feminism. You're talking about.
I
like,
want it to come back.
Okay.
Remember hairy armpits? Now it's unacceptable.
I don't think that's true.
It's okay in Bushwick, but it's not cool.
Yeah,
So
it's fine.
What's that? The Italian lady had, who's hot?
Oh yes. I know who you're talking
Sophia
about.
Loren.
Sophia Loren.
Yeah, she had.
I got no problem with hairy armpits. I'm on
That's
record.
fine,
Yeah.
but it's very rare to see it on like an actual empowered woman. It's on like a vegan trans who has like non-binary cats or whatever.
This is really interesting because you're actually saying radical feminism with Kill Tony vocabulary right now. It's like a fascinating. I'm having a hard time even because we do agree, but you're throwing these like anti-cancel culture buzzwords out.
There's a
even
way
though
to
you're
be-
like it's like how Ian is embarrassed of being gay, so he pretends to be Republican. You're doing this. You're embarrassed to be a feminist, so you're pretending to be Republican right now.
I feel like this podcast sort of solidified the fact that Stavros Halkias has never and will never want to be a part of the group of comedians in the so-called Rogansphere, who pretty much just ride the anti-cancel culture wave in Austin to stay in the good graces of Joseph, Tony, and, most importantly, the cesspool of fans who support this style of comedy, if you even want to call it that. Because let's not forget that it is the audience and their hard-earned cash that are keeping the Austin disease afloat. They're truly the root of the issue here. And Stavros clearly doesn't want to feed the beast. Instead, he'd rather crack jokes and then laugh at them with that contagious cackle of his.
Yeah.
it's his favorite pastime, especially when the jokes are about extremely out of touch, unlikable, and unfunny comedians like Bert Kreischer. Look, I don't know if you're aware already, but Stavros and Chris Stefano have been absolutely dunking on Bert Kreischer basically this entire summer, as they were hired last June by Tom and Bert to take over Two Bears, One Cave for about 6 episodes. And the very last episode that happened a couple weeks ago, they completely eviscerated Bert so badly that I just couldn't ignore it anymore. I mean, at one point the things they were saying about him were so accurately insulting that I nearly started to feel bad for Mr. Shirtless. And the roasting began after they finished up their phone call with him, which was so boring that I won't put it in this video, but just know that Chris and Stavros tried their very hardest to riff with Kreischer. But after about 10 minutes of Kreischer talking about ways that he could sell things to his audience, they finally realized why the fans of Two Bears, One Cave hate Bert and Tom so much. It's because these two guys have become completely money-oriented. And so after the phone call, they both hilariously came to the conclusion that in order to make the fans happy with the show again, that Bert and Tom would probably need to both perish in a thrilling fight to the death.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you, Bert. Love you,
I
brother.
owe you 6 episodes of something.
100%.
All right.
Thank you,
All
bro.
right.
Later.
See
Bye.
you, dude.
So if that didn't plummet the ratings, I honestly, if calling Bert, if you're still listening after we just called Bert.
And I believe he called it Bad Ideas.
Yes,
and
which
it's
is
called Bad Thoughts.
Right. So if you're still listening now, you truly need more mental help than I do. We literally just called Bert and Bert talked about himself for 10 minutes.
I love the Bert's idea, and I do feel bad because you were holding the phone, so I couldn't really but his idea was like branding. It's like his idea for a bit is like, what could a comic sell?
Yeah,
that's
like,
better than alcohol.
Yeah,
and it's like, how about we tell a joke?
Yeah,
how about stand-up comedy is what we sell?
a joke. It's like
actually is a great name for.
Big Titty. They also are asking us, what should Tom and Bert do when they come back? How do they win the audience back and the show? Right? How will they actually win them back? At this point?
I think a fight to the death.
Yes.
And whoever kills the other one keeps the podcast.
Yeah, kind of how, like, I forgot, one of them bought Hitler's teacup. They can pull a Hitler and just do a Steve of Braun, like just an assisted suicide. And that's...
Or you know what? A game of Russian roulette.
Nice.
Until one of them dies.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing that will satiate the fans' bloodlust.
Yeah.
I think they need to watch one of them and just like... And the thing is, Tom, even though he wants to live... he actually wouldn't be like that shaken, and Bert would be like crying.
And I love that, like, Bert wins, like, and blows his own brains out, and then the team at like Benson Spoon would know to edit Bert's brains flying out of his head with his tour dates in every speckle. Like he would just know that that's what I have to do because he's got a big date at Red Rock. So he would like.
What if Bert shoots part of his brain out and he survives and it just doesn't affect his act?
Yeah, he still does the same thing. That's hilarious.
I just feel like Stavros is a breath of fresh air in this circle of successful podcasting comedians. Because not only is he a pretty funny guy, but he's also so self-aware that when he sees a guy like Bert, who is the most self-unaware and out-of-touch person alive, he's able to immediately pick up on why people dislike him so much. And then he's able to create comedy gold out of that realization. So this whole Two Bears, One Cave takeover made Chris Stefano and Stavros realize that there's an entire fan base of people out there who will declare you as their king if you call out anything relating to the Rogansphere. And they pretty much just capitalized on that for that whole 2-month duration, which they make pretty obvious at the very end when they literally say that they're just doing what the fans want, which prompts the surprise guest, Mark Normand, to send a little shot towards the Fighter and the Kid subreddit, which is the subreddit that haunts Brendan Schaub's nightmares every single night.
It drives me nuts! Nuts!
Let's take 5 more minutes. We'll do our contractual hour.
Right.
And then we'll get the fuck out of here. We see how much we give a fuck about this show. We just have a countdown the second. And the second it hits 1 hour, we're like, all right.
Yeah.
Cut the checks, Bert and Tom.
But this is what their fans want. Yeah. They just want to listen to an hour of just us shitting on them and shitting on the show.
It is weird.
This is what podcasting's become.
This is like Brendan Schaub's Reddit.
Yeah.
Just shit on him, you know?
But now that I think of it, I don't want this video to give the impression that Stavros just talks shit behind other comics' backs, which you might be thinking now, since in these clips, he never really confronts anyone in the Rogansphere directly to their face. So to wrap this compilation up, I wanted to remind you guys of the time where Mr. Halkias gave a huge dose of reality to Bert Kreischer, because it was absolutely ruthless. And even though they're comedians, everything that Stavros tells Bertrude here was undeniably the truth. Like he just broke it down to him that he's now on the verge of dying, and that he's pretty much sacrificed his health for his act. And as harsh as that may be, Bert needs to be hearing this from everyone around him, not just the random comedian pal from across the country. That is how much of an emergency his health truly is.
Do you ever think that you might have been capable of something so much better than what you're doing, and you're using your body to just not die from alcoholism? Do you think like
every day, I think I have superior genetics.
Yeah, I wouldn't phrase it that way.
I think I've watered them down my whole life.
Yes.
And I've put myself at 50% and achieved 100%.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
What I would have looked like had I been the guy at 25 that said, "Buck stops here. I'm going to start eating clean."
Let me ask you this though, Bert. You know how? Let's say take an egg, right?
Yeah.
You crack an egg, and you put it on the fucking sidewalk. Or you keep an egg in a fridge, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect conditions. Eventually it'll go bad. You pickle that egg with booze, and that egg can last forever. You might have preserved yourself in booze somehow.
Dude,
you're like the beef jerky of guys.
I'm gonna tell you an example. I have a friend who's aggressively fat his entire life.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah. And when he started trying to get healthy, he just started looking old. He's maybe how much younger is Tommy than me? Tom looks like a 70-year-old man. He looks like a 70-year-old man.
That's more salt and pepper, though.
No, but it's like aging. Like if you put me and Tom together, you think we're the same age. Mm-hmm. I'm like a generation older than him.
Interesting.
But I look so much better. It's wild.
I think this is also another one of your great skills: completely overrating yourself. I don't know that you look that much better, Bert. You're jacked. I'll give you that. You're stronger.
Unfortunately, Stavros isn't around Bert enough to know that unless he can hear the sound of his own voice, Bert just doesn't listen to anything anyone's saying at all moments of the day. So the cold truth that Stavros said here didn't even register for the shirtless hackman. I mean, he literally took everything that Halkias was saying and somehow spun it into why he thinks he's better looking than Tom, which is also just him justifying his repulsive drinking and eating habits. And also, just remember that this was almost a year ago. And honestly, Bert looks pretty good here. Fast forward to now though, and oh boy. I mean, the state of him is honestly concerning and insulting at the same time. So to finish off the podcast, Stavros politely tells Bert to stop posting pictures of himself crying online. Because if you guys remember, this was around the time when Bert posted that grotesque Instagram photo of him bawling his eyes out, which should have honestly had a not safe for work warning on top of it. And of course, when Stavros brings this up, the only thought that forms in Bert's damaged brain is the concern that Stavros will unfollow him on Instagram for it.
I was dropping George off to college.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to read the fucking text.
Yeah.
I'm dropping George off at college. I posted a picture of me crying. Or dropping Isla.
Yeah, that's tough. You got to stop doing that, man.
No.
You got to stop posting pictures of you crying. You can just save that for the family scrapbook.
Nope. It's what I do. It's me. It's 100% me. It does. It does. It 100% does.
Today could be the first day of the rest of your life, Bert. You can be the guy who keeps that to himself.
Did you unfollow me?
No.
Okay, then that's all I care about.
I wouldn't unfollow you. Exactly. You're my friend. But
I go unfollow me because I don't give a fuck.
I wouldn't unfollow my friend if he relapsed on heroin, but I'd be like, buddy, this is bad for you.
So yeah, at the end of the day, what makes Stavros stand out is that he's willing to acknowledge the elephant in the room. A lot of comics in the Rogansphere are too scared to lose stage time, podcast invites, or that sweet, sweet paycheck. So they just tiptoe around obvious nonsense. Stavros does not though. He'll roast Kill Tony fans for clapping like seals at buzzwords. He'll call out Sam Morril for pocketing Saudi money on one of the most sensitive dates in his religion. And he'll clown Jordan Jensen when she suddenly pivots her whole act to fit Austin's anti-woke playbook. That is what separates him from the hacks. And let's not forget that he loves telling Bert the truth, which we should all be thankful for. But with that being said, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching.